A beautiful morning to you. You're welcome to Sports Talk on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Kinsley Emmanuel. Very happy to be here this evening to bring you up to speed with the latest revolving around the beautiful world of sports. Big pattern, of course, this morning. But top on our menu this morning, registration kicks off for Abuja Marathon. Coming in, of course, from tennis, Aruna bounds out of Singapore tennis tourney. And in football, Newcastle reached Carabao Cup final. It was, of course, a very impressive one last night. These and many more will be yours after this short time out. Stay with us.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
Every day our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what
I have fought a very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on Atlantic Television Network this morning. We're very much ready, of course, to serve you the latest revolving around the beautiful of the sports. And, of course, joining me this morning to take a look at some interesting issues this morning is Emmanuel Michael. Michael, good morning to you and welcome to Sports Talk.
Yeah, good morning to you, Kingsley, and good morning to our viewers out there.
All right, let's quickly take a look at, some interesting issues this morning. And, of course, our first point of call will be the marathon in Abuja as preparation intensified for the Abuja International Marathon. Key figures in the sports and fitness industry have expressed their eagerness to volunteer and contribute to the event's success. The marathon set for March 4th with thousands of runners expected to participate in the 21-kilometer half marathon and the 5-kilometer race. Volunteers will be crucial in ensuring a seamless and enjoyable experience for all. Members of the sports family, including athletes, coaches, fitness trainers, and others, have pledged to support the events in different capacities, from technical assistance to race coordination and mentorship for young runners. Beyond the competition itself, the Abuja International Marathon represents an opportunity to promote health, youth empowerment, and regional unity through sport. Let's hold it there at this point. Michael, first of all, what do you make of it? Abuja Marathon is about to take center stage once again.
I think for me it's going to be another sporting fiesta that so many athletes have been waiting for. And of course, you know how the first edition panned out. We recorded some sort of milestone, even in the second edition. And for me, I think it's another way of trying to use this mini marathon as a means of trying to unearth talent away from the conventional thought of it is about keeping fit and all of that. But then beyond keeping fit, we need to also make it more big, in the essence that these are the kind of competition that if we truly put our acts together, we can be able to unearth one or two talents out there that can go on to do the nation proud. So for me, I'm very much hopeful that this Abuja Marathon is yet to be another success once again, because the previous edition, I think we recorded one or two achievements going forward. So I think primarily I would love to see much improvement from it, so that at least at the end of the whole hostility, we can beat our chest and say, yes, these are the milestones, these are the achievements, these are the set record, and this is the target for the next edition. So for me, very much anticipative rather of this Abuja Marathon, hoping that it's going to yield the needed result, which is primarily about unearthing talent.
That's the problem. That's the worry at this point in time. Talking about unearthing talent. We have a lot of marathon races in the country. We have the Kwekwe race, we have the Lagos Marathon, we have the Abuja Marathon. We also have even the Port Harcourt Marathon as well. So we have all of these marathon races in the country, but we've not been able to, of course, put up our mark down there when it has to do with global marathon races. Every year we have a Kwekwe Marathon, Lagos Marathon. You see people coming out, to run and then maybe achieve one or two, maybe prize money or medal or whatever. But at the end of the day, we've not been able to transfer all of this gesture, this energy, to the global stage. What could be the reason?
It's very simple. I think when you talk about long distance race such as a marathon, there are people that are masters of it, especially right here in Africa. And if you want to get to that height, you need to also learn from the masters. But it looks as though we don't want to learn, and that is why we have refused to send some of our long distance runners to countries such as Ethiopia, countries such as Kenya that are doing very well in terms of international marathon. Whenever you talk about the long distance race, then what quickly comes to your mind are the countries that always pull the big short, which is Ethiopia, Kenya. You talk about Jamaica. How many times in a year have we actually assembled 5 or 10 marathon runners or athletes to send them more like going to these countries that I've mentioned, Jamaica, Kenya, Ethiopia, so that they can also learn new skills? What are they doing differently that we are not doing? Why do they always get this kind of result? Why have they been able to carve out a niche for themselves when you talk about the long distance race? These are questions that we need to ask ourselves, and you want to get an answer or answers to such questions, then you must go there. We must send our athletes there to learn the new trade, to learn the new skills, to learn the intrigues. How do they do these things? Why do they always get positive results? So for me, I think it looks as though we do not want to improve, and that is why we are remaining static when you talk about the long distance race. We are nowhere to be found, not just Nigeria alone, but the West African countries. Generally, we don't always do well when you talk about long distance race, and it's looking as though we don't want to improve, and that is why we have refused to send our athletes to these countries that are specialists in long distance race. So if we want to get there, if we want to get to that high apex where be among the Committee of Nations when we talk about long distance runner, then we need to also send our athletes there so that they can also learn the trade. And know what it takes, to become a perfectionist in long distance race.
All right, I think a lot has to be done, of course, for Nigeria when it has to do with long distance races down there. Now, with over $71,000 in prize money up for grab, the event is expected to attract elite runners while also encouraging participation from amateur fitness enthusiasts as well. And another worry for me is that these elite runners are always the one that comes to rack up the first position and the gold medals, and Nigerians will just tend to complement the race at the end of the day. But we'll hope that the narrative, of course, will change, and we'll see long distance runners down here in Nigeria putting up a very impressive stride down there. But away from that, let's quickly take a look at some interesting issues, as well as the first batch of international athletes expected to compete in the Lagos City Marathon will arrive in Nigeria on February 13th. This year edition, marking a decade of the Lagos City Marathon, has over 4,000 foreign runners and 100 elite international athletes set to participate. The event promises to be one of the biggest in its history. And in the build-up to the marathon, an expo event kick off at the Teslim Balogun Stadium, Lagos, giving participants and fans an opportunity to engage with the event. This is another one, Michael. Lagos City Marathon, of course, will be upon us, and it promises to be another exciting one.
Yeah, it's a marathon we just talked about, another Lagos City Marathon. The last edition as well, you saw countries or athletes from Ethiopia and Kenya also, coming to sweep, the gold and silver medals. This time around, I hope we've been able to learn a lesson, and we want to also be part of and parcel of those that is going to win the gold or even silver medal. Because for me, it's not just good enough for us to host a marathon race, then leaving the cash prize, for other athletes from other countries to come and make a clean sweep of it. No, because we just ruled out the amount of money involved, $71,000
in the Abuja Marathon.
Yes. What if athletes from Nigeria wins it? It's going to be a plus to the economy, rather than allowing people from other countries to come and cut away such money. I mean, it is a minus to our economy, because if our athlete wins it, that money is going to revolve around what we call circular flow of income in finance. That is what it brings, and the money trickles down to different places right here in the economy, and it boosts the economy. But when other athletes from other countries come to take such amount of money from the economy, you know what that means. So beyond hosting the marathon, beyond hosting all of this mini competition, it should also behoves on us to do diligence to ensure that at least we win it, because a huge amount of money comes with it. Because if we get to win it, that amount of money will be channeled back, or plowed back into the society, into the economy, and the economy will keep growing.
Of course, at last year's marathon, Kenyan runner Bernard Sang won the 42-kilometer race in 2 hours 16.49 seconds, securing the $50,000 prize money. Simon Chiprut and Edwin Kiptu, also from Kenya, finished second and third, winning $40,000 and $30,000 respectively. The women's category was won by 25-year-old Ethiopian Ben Chela, while Shehu Manzu, the first Nigerian to cross the finish line, took home 1 million naira. All right, away from that, let's bring you the latest coming from basketball this morning, as the 20th edition of the Inter-School Basketball Championship is set to take place on February 13th in Lagos, with President of the Nigerian Basketball Federation, Musa Amadou Kida, leading dignitaries to the event. The championship is a testament to his commitment to grassroots basketball development. Other dignitaries expected to attend include former Tigers captain Lumide Ayodeji, a former guest who makes a return to the championship. The event has consistently produced top players who have gone on to excel in top-level basketball championship and college abroad. This would be, of course, an impressive one, as it stands. Michael, I don't know what you make of it. This is the school basketball championship, and Musa Kida, of course, is really much, ready to make sure that this actually see the light of the day.
It should see the light of the day. I mean, every major focus of any championship or any competition in sport is to yield good fruit. It's to yield a good fruit, and see the light of the day. If it doesn't see the light of the day, it means that the competition is not going to hold, So I think it must see the light of the day because all necessary arrangement has been put in place. So I think it's another great opportunity for us to also see how we can be able to, get one or two good basketballers that can also be integrated into the national team, because the big name teams in D Tigers or D Tigress, they are aging. I mean, every year goes by, the age and the time is winding down, and there is need for us to find possible replacement. We don't just wait until maybe they possibly bows out entirely before we start talking about replacement, just like what we are seeing in the world of tennis right here in the country right now, where you look as though it is only Haruna Quadri that is the last man standing. And of course, likes of Funka, Oshonaike, Fatima Bello, they are also aging as well. So this is the time for us to start looking or finding a way to possibly make a replacement for some of these big names, in the basketball. And this is the kind of competition where we should use as a parameter to try to fish out or find some of the possible replacement, the future champions that we desire to see. So all hands must be on deck to ensure that this one come to fruition, and not just coming to fruition, but also using it as a makeshift to get one or two talent that we are going to integrate into the national team.
Talking about integration into the national team, I believe I've asked this question before. Is there a right platform? Is the platform good enough, to be able to accommodate these athletes or these basketballers, the basketballers that will be on earth, from this particular competition? Because the basketball system in Nigeria is not in good shape. You take a look at the male league; it's not really consistent. Even the female league as well. So this talent that will be on earth from this particular competition, where would they, continue their career? How would things look like for them? That's actually the big question, because you're bringing up talent to a system that is not well structured.
I think for me, the female league is even more structured than the male league, because in the female league, they have a very standby sponsors, that doles out a whole lot of money. It's a great platform for us to discover new talent. But we talk about the male, platform, the male league. That is where I'm a little bit skeptical about, the plans of the future for succession is to take place. I mean, talking about the young ones that is going to take their place. It could be very difficult, but I think for the female league, I am very much hopeful, because there is a right platform there, for us to get one or two talent. Like I said, they have a constant and a sustainable sponsor, a financial institution for that matter, that doles out a whole lot of millions, in the female league. But away from that, I think the platform, just like you said, has been very shaky for us to see a proper platform that can also enable these young ones to ride through and get to the national team and establish themselves. It's been a very difficult one. We hope that the incoming of Malam Shehu Diko as the chairman of the National Sports Commission is going to change all of this, so that we begin to make the right decision and be able to put up a right template that can enable some of these young sportsmen and women to succeed successfully and get to the national team, where they can also do the country proud.
All right, taking a look at it, let's quickly move on as we bring you the latest, coming from the NBA this morning. We saw some interesting cracker, and of course, Piston, of course, Detroit Piston. We saw them, of course, wasn't really an impressive result this morning, as of course they were not able to hold their own. Beg your pardon. From what we've seen, Detroit Piston, of course, were able, of course, to see how they can manage their way in that encounter. Let's see if we can get that result. Yes, they lost, to the Cavaliers, 118 to 115 in that encounter. Atlanta Hawks, they lost to San Antonio Spurs, 126 to 125. A very, very slim margin down there in the score line. And of course, Charlotte Hornets, they lost to Milwaukee Bucks, 112 to 102, and Toronto Raptors lost to Memphis Grizzlies, 138 to 107. And of course, we saw another exciting result. Philadelphia 76ers, they lost to Miami Heat, 108 to 101. And of course, we saw Brooklyn Nets, they lost to Washington Wizards, 119 to 102 in that particular encounter. Minnesota Timberwolves, they beat Chicago Bulls 127 to 108, and Utah Jazz, of course, they were able to jazz the Golden State Warriors 131 to 128 in that particular encounter. Denver Nuggets beat the Pelicans 144 to 119 in that one, and Oklahoma City Thunder, they were able to thunder the Suns. It was a very interesting cracker down there, 140 to 109. And of course, Sacramento Kings, they were not able to prove their kingship as they lost to Orlando Magic 130 to 111 in that particular encounter. We'll take a break now, and when we'll come back from the break, we'll bring you the latest revolving around the beautiful world of tennis. Aruna Quadri is in the news. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business,
Welcome back to Sports Talk on Atlantic Television Network, and of course we told you A lot, of course, is happening when it has to do with marathon. The Abuja Marathon, of course, will soon take center stage. Talk about, of course, the Lagos Marathon as well. And, of course, interesting one coming from basketball down here in Nigeria. Musa Kida, very much optimistic of making sure that, of course, there is grassroots basketball development down here in Nigeria. Away from that, let's bring you the latest coming from tennis. Despite a hard 4-3-1 victory over Quadri Aruna in the second round of the men's singles at the Singapore Smash 2025, Brazil Hugo Calderona admitted that the Nigeria remains a formidable opponent in any competition. Calderona had to rely from a 1-0 deficit to secure his win with a score of 8-11, 11-8, 11-9, 11-6, advancing to the third round. This victory gives Calderona a 3-1 lead in their last 4 encounters, and the women's singles, Egypt Anaconda was eliminated by China Mankua in the second round, despite matching her opponents in par in that particular one. Michael, despite defeating Aruna, Calderona, of course, believed that Aruna is always a force, of course, to reckon with when it comes to competition like this.
For me, I just think that Calderona was just trying to pay respect to Haruna Quadri. I mean, for a familiar foe that we've met several times in the top flight, taking the lead, you had to come from behind to defeat him 3-1. What more can he say than to just compliment, his opponent that he defeated? But for me, I think Haruna Quadri is lowering down his standard. This is not the same Haruna Quadri of 4 years ago. You take a look at the competition, major competition that he's taken part in the last 2 years. He's not been able to get to that height, to that high standard. So I think he's gradually fading away, because I expected him to do a lot against the Brazilian, but it wasn't to be. He has found it very difficult to get to the quarterfinal or semi-final of any major tournament in the last 1 year right now, not to talk about the final. So I think it is right now telling on the player talking about Haruna Quadri that age is no longer on his side, and I don't expect anything less. But he fought gallantly, but his gallant fight wasn't good enough, as he was, defeated, 3-1. For me, it is time, and that is why I keep calling the Nigerian, tennis federation to start doing the needful. It's high time we begin to source for replacement for Haruna Quadri and the rest, because their time is gradually winding down.
Really winding down at this point in time. We hope Haruna Quadri, of course, will bounce back and, of course, reclaim his position as a stand. But away from that, let's talk football this morning, as high-flying Rivers Angels secured the bragging rights in the South Derby over Delta Queens in March Day 4 of the Nigerian Men Football League. Tosan Blankson, who led his new side to his former hunting ground at the Stephen Keshi Stadium, Asaba, emerged 2-1 victors, and he praised his team's performance in that particular encounter. Impressive one for Rivers Angels. 4 games played, and of course they've been unbeaten so far. What do you make of the performance so far from Rivers Angels with Tosan Blankson?
I think it's a great start for them, but they should keep up with this pace till the end.
All right, Robo Queens, of course, played 2-1 draw against Niger Ratus. Ibom Angels finally got a win against Benue Queens, and it's been 4 games played, and the Ibom Angels, of course, they've been able to rack up, of course, a victory this time around. First win for Edwin Okon and the girls.
Great one for them. It looks as though when the head is not doing fine, it also affects the rest of the body as well. More like Aqua United, the male counterpart, not doing very well. Ibom Angels as well, the sister side, not starting the league on impressive note. So I think with this victory, I hope it's going to give them the needed moral upliftment to go on in their next game and see if they can be able to churn positive results, because it could be frustrating of some of the fans or football followers, especially out there in the Aqua Cross region, to see that their male team is not doing well, a female team also not doing well. That could be very frustrating for football followers, especially fans of these teams, based there in the Salsa region. So I believe with this victory, it's going to propel them to at least, double their effort in their next game and see if they can continue to churn out positive results.
National Army Jones beat Kitty Queens 2-0, and Abia Angels beat Conflict Queens 3-0. Delta Kings Utodi lost to Rivers Angels by 2-1, and Remo Star Ladies beat Heartland Queens by 4-1. Danas Ladies played 1-1 draw against Edo Queens, and Bayelsa Queens beat Adamawa Queens by 3-0. Let's quickly move on as we take a look at some interesting issues in the male football. As Akwa United technical advisor Kennedy Boboye has expressed the team's determination to reach the final of the 2025 President Federation Cup. The Promise Keepers will face Pillars Investors in the qualifying round of the competition. Akwa United are currently battling relegation in the Nigerian Premier Football League. They are yet to record a win since the appointment of Kennedy Boboye. And Boboye, of course, despite the woes, believe that a win would boost the team's confidence in the NPFL, and will ask when would this win come. And despite all that is happening, despite the struggle, Boboye still believe that they will reach the final of the Federation Cup. Michael,
I think their priority right now should be channeled toward ensuring they get away from the drop zone, because they are rocking the bottom of the Nigerian Premier Football League. So for me, I believe that it will be rather profitable to invest their effort in trying to see how they crawl back away from that drop zone that they are right now, other than dreaming big for the Federation's Cup. After all, if you get to win the Federation's Cup and you don't do well in the league and you go to relegation, what profit or what impact does it really entail? So for me, I would have preferred they channel their energy into seeing how to come out of the relegation zone that they find themselves, other than prioritizing, doing well in the Federation's Cup.
Away from Akwa United, Rivers United goalkeeper Osagi Dumaye has returned to training after an injury layoff. He picked up an injury during Rivers United match the 20 clash against Plateau United in Jos, and the short stopper's return is music to the ears of Coach Finidi George ahead of the next league game against Lobby Stars. Rivers United have been winless since the absence of their first choice goalkeeper, and the man is expected to undergo a late fitness test ahead of the game, and the Rivers United will face Lobby Stars at the Doke Mesimaka Stadium. Talking about the goalkeeper, Michael Osagi, the man has not been in action since March the 20th. You think that has caused the poor run of form for Rivers United in the games we've seen them play so far?
I do not think so. That one player is out injured doesn't mean that the entire team should crumble. The entire team should stop getting victory just because a player in a team is comprised of about 23 players would be struggling just because a goalkeeper is out injured. I do not believe with that, because football is a team sport. So after all, they say soldier go, soldier come, barracks still remain. If one player get injured away from the team, I mean, the team is still there. They can also fill in other players, because there are other players as well that are good, because if they were not good, then it wouldn't have brought them to add to your score. So I do not think this has affected Rivers United game so far since March that he got injured.
And of course, away from that, National Sports Commission Chairman Shehu Diko has charged the Nigerian Football Federation to ensure the Super Eagles qualify for the 2026 World Cup. This comes as Nigeria sit in 5th place with just 3 points after 4 matches in their qualifying campaign, 4 points behind leaders Rwanda with 6 games left to play in the series. Deco made this known during the NFF President Ibrahim Gusu's visit to the National Sport Commission Secretariat to brief him on preparations for the crucial World Cup qualifiers bid for March. And the Eagles under new coach Eric Chell face Rwanda and Zimbabwe in March in must-win fixtures as they bid to secure the group's solitary ticket to the global showpiece set to be co-hosted by the United States, Mexico and Canada. Top task for the NFF as well as the new coach of the side, Eric Chell, at this point in time. The World Cup qualifiers comes up in March, and you ask yourself, how ready are we, Michael? Shehu Diko, no, not relenting at all, having to, of course, put that little bit of pressure that the Super Eagles must qualify for the next World Cup. How prepared?
It's not about putting effort. It's not about making some ambiguous statements on the media. It's about doing the needful. It's about giving them the needed support financially, morally, and otherwise to ensure that we are able to, skate through this difficult hurdle that we actually immerse ourselves, where we are finding a very difficult, position for qualifying for the next World Cup. I agree that you need to drum this, seriousness so that the body that be will take necessary actions. But then it goes beyond just paper talk. It's about doing the basic things. There are things that you should do behind the camera that we should not be aware, but you are working tirelessly toward ensuring that you do the right thing that will also help. What is about doing the right thing? About supporting the new coach, about the players. How often do we check on them? If we have not been doing that, it is right time for us to start putting call across to our players based in overseas to actually show that concern. This can be the small little thing that is going to turn the head of the players that, oh, a very long time since I came to the national team. Not even the FA, not the chairman, nobody has ever put call across to me to ask how I'm doing. This time around, these are little things that are very vital. It could go a whole long way to turn the mentality of the players to say, okay, I want to fight for the badge. I want to, die for my fatherland. I want to qualify for the World Cup for, not just for me alone, but for the entire nation. So I think for me, it behoves on the bodies that be to do the needful, because with a lot of politicking behind the scene that we don't get to see that have actually punctuated the effort of the Super Eagles doing the right thing when we are heading for major competition or where we are about to qualify. First, we shot ourselves on the foot. We made ourselves to be in this very tight corner. Coach General was leaving, he left us to a certain point. The last coach came, the people complain about his tactics and all of that, but then at the end of it all, we came back to even beg him to stay, even while still at the African Cup of Nations, just because he got us to the final. The man said, no, I'm not putting pen to paper yet. Allow me to finish this job. Immediately he finished. He tabled his price tag. They thought it was too big for them. They let him go. There is no consistency. There is no proper flow. When you are dropping coaches here and there, bringing some amateur coaches, with no disrespect to anybody, but then I think he cut the flow of the national team. Sack this one, bring the next one, sack this one on interim basis. How do you want this to gel? So basically it is all about their fault. So they should also do well to correct that mistakes. But I believe that for the Super Eagles not to go to the second consecutive World Cup, I think it's going to be a disaster, and it's going to be a slap on our face, because as a giant of Africa, not just a giant on paper, but then we should be able to replicate that. It's going to be a very difficult or a very hard nut to, to swallow for us to not to go to the World Cup. So I believe it is the right charge, but then it should do more of the action other than the talking, out there to ensure that we qualify for the World Cup. Proper support must be given to the coach, talking about Eric Chell, we know that there are so many dissenting opinions from different quarters about his appointment, about his credibility and all of that, but then all that is going to be a thing of the past if this man is giving the needed support and he eventually qualifies us for the World Cup.
All right, let's see how this one go. We'll just hope that things will go well for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, because they must, if you ask me, I tell you, they must qualify for the World Cup. They could have attended the last World Cup in Qatar. Missing out on this one as well will be very, very disappointing to Nigerians. And I think Shehu Diko, the chairman of the National Sport Commission, Ibrahim Gusso, president of the Nigerian Football Federation, the coach of the Super Eagles, Eric Chell, I think they must really work hard to make sure we, Nigeria, of course, achieve this particular one. But away from that, former Super Eagles defender Taye Taiwo has been inducted into Olympic Marseille's Club of Legends. Taiwo, regarded as one of Nigeria's greatest left-backs, earned 54 caps for the Super Eagles between 2004 and 2011, scoring 5 goals. At the club level, he had an impressive career, featuring for top European teams, including AC Milan and Marseille, and his stint in the English Premier League with QPR. Marseille was Taiwo's first European club, where he spent 6 years, making 271 appearances, scoring 25 goals, and providing 23 assists. He won Ligue 1, the League Cup, and the French Super Cup before moving to AC Milan in 2011. Since retiring in 2019, Taiwo has lived in France. His recent induction into Marseille's Club of Legends recognizes his significant impact of the club, joining notable names like Sema Nasri, Mamadou Niang, and Paulo Sexa. Impressive one, of course, for Taye Taiwo. He's one man, of course, that showed a lot of dedication down there, in France, and now, of course, he's been inducted, as one of the legends of Olympic Marseille. Michael.
Deserving of him, the thunderbolt left foot shot that he always takes, most time rifles the goalpost. I mean, was more likened to the Roberto Carlos of then, Brazil and Real Madrid, because of the shots coming off his left foot. I mean, truly deserved. Made 270-something appearances for Olympic de Marseille, scoring 25 goals and a couple of assists out there for a defender. I mean, it really deserved to be inducted, into the Hall of Fame as one of their legends. So, for me, no doubt, Taye Taiwo has laid a mark. He has fought gallantly for the badge of Marseille, and right now is enjoying the dividend of his hard work.
All right, let's quickly move down to Europe. We saw the EFL Cup yesterday. Arsenal were once again beaten by Newcastle. 2-0 this time at St. James's Park. Michael, what do you make of this humiliation by Newcastle to Arsenal?
Arsenal trophyless season is gradually looming, and Alexander Isak is the sponsor of this very trophyless season that is gradually looming for Arsenal, because he was their nightmare. You can't forget the first leg of the competition as well. He was also on the score sheet. This time around again, I think for Arsenal, it's very difficult for me to have faith in them, because most time when you try to believe in them, they continue to, falter. They are still chasing for the league or even the Champions League. But you and I know that in the Champions League, it may be a very difficult. In fact, it's going to be a very difficult one for Arsenal to win the UEFA Champions League. For the league, they are still very much in chase. But don't forget, they are 6-point adrift of league leaders, talking about Liverpool. And Liverpool are not looking likely like a team that is going to drop points. So that is why I say that it looks as though the trophyless season of Arsenal is gradually looming again, having been knocked out of the Carabao Cup. 2 defeats they suffered in 2 of the games. I think it's not a good one for a team such as Arsenal. After their impressive display against Manchester City, I was thinking, they are actually going to maintain that momentum, but the inconsistency is something I need to go to a tertiary institution to learn again why the inconsistency of Arsenal.
All right, let's say it is. We hope that at least Arsenal will win the title this time. The Premier League, they are still chasing hard. Champions League as well. We hope they get something at the end of the day. But Liverpool manager and Slot has confirmed he will not have Trent Alexander-Arnold available for today's Carabao Cup semi-final clash with Tottenham. Alexander-Arnold picked up a thigh injury during the 2-0 win over Bournemouth last weekend. And scans on Monday showed that the Reds defender has not suffered any major damage. But Slot is unlikely to rush to risk him with Conor Bradley fit to step in for the semi-final at Anfield. Alexander-Arnold will focus on getting fit for next week Merseyside derby against Everton, as he is also unlikely to make the trip to Plymouth for the FA Cup third round clash. Liverpool lost 1-0 to Tottenham in the first leg, but will be favourites to progress with home advantage as well tonight. We'll see how that one, of course, will pan out, but with that, of course,